So what's the line of too stupid for movies? That's the premise of this interview. And I got my friend Jess Place with me. This is the New England Take. I'm your host, AJ Kierstead. Check out the newenglandtake.com. Also, you can listen to the show on WKXL Fridays at 6 p.m. All right, Jess, welcome back to the show. It's been a minute.
It's good to be back. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I figure who better to have to talk about movies with, if it's not my regular movie watching buddy, my wife. It's I gotta have Jess on for sure.
Well, thank you.
Yes. So we Ryan John Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Rian Johnson. I have a bad taste in my mouth from him to begin with, but because of the Star Wars movies. So just before I watched The Glass Onion, I had that on my mind, like, oh God, what's he gonna do? And then I forgot. The guy wrote Knives Out, the original movie. The guy wrote Looper. Like, the guy knows how to make movies, and he knows when things hit right, he does a really good job. But then he has a turnaround that we'll dive into. But like, when you think of Rian Johnson, what do you think of?
Oh, I'm trying to separate Rian Johnson, the Star Wars guy, from Rian Johnson, the mystery master. I thought both those movies were terrific. Glass Onion and Knives Out, the first one.
Yeah, I really liked Knives Out, and I watched it much like a long time after it actually came out. It didn't click with me because of COVID. It's like, oh, it only came out in 2019. It wasn't that long ago. It just feels like forever ago because of the damn coronavirus. But I liked Glass Onion. I really liked Knives Out. I remember Looper being good, and he does like his big theme that he does when he approaches writing movies. He's talked about this outright. This isn't some interpretation of everyone that hates him on YouTube. It is he wants to deconstruct and approach things from a different angle, which is very respectable. And I think Knives Out, the first one especially, did a fantastic job of that. Where you take the traditional whodunit, which there are a selection of people are very particular with how you do a whodunit movie. Like some of the biggest people that have spoken out, especially against the Glass Onion, is Brits. The Brits are like, no, no. You don't screw it. Like, they love their old school BBC whodunit murder movies, Sherlock Holmes, like all those things. So I got the feeling they kind of approach it from way too critical an eye.
Well, in their defense, they have like it's kind of the Agatha Christie model. It's the mystery bitten from. You have all these like eccentric characters that all seem to just have an ungodly amount of money or want for money, and the mystery kind of plays upon them. And so it's total. I could see why the Brits would have an issue with it because it's kind of that British Agatha Christie formula.
Yeah, it's like this is our culture, man. It's like we have our westerns and they got the whodunits.
Well, we don't even have our own westerns. They were all made in Italy.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. And I mean, I feel like he did a great job with like the cinematography, the writing. There's obviously holes. Anyone who thinks whodunits don't have holes, I think is really jumped the shark when it comes to their commentary on it. There's always holes in how these things, like, oh, this genius detective comes along and solves all of it. So there's a bit of that in the original Knives Out, but I thought it was just overall just a good movie with unique characters. The casting was amazing, and like when you get, I mean, Chris Evans, basically everyone just pawned him off as, oh, it's Captain America is in this movie. It's like, no, he's like a sleazeball. He's a little bit of a sleazeball, I think, in real life, which what is the real Chris Evans? I guess we'll never know. But the cast was just so good in it.
Yes, which one? Glass Onion or
we'll start Knives Out. We'll get into Glass Onion.
Yeah, Knives Out. Yeah, well, I mean, if you got Jamie Lee Curtis, you've got Daniel Craig is amazing. I still kind of marvel at that accent that he has created. It's kind of like Southernish. It's not really like from a particular region. Yeah, I would agree with you. Again, you need to have for the like all these rich characters to exist in this world. You have to have like really excellent actors, but and that holds true from from the first Knives Out to the Glass Onion. Again, you got the equally the same. I mean, you got a guy named Ransom in the first one, and then Birdie in the second one. And let's not forget the best character from the Glass Onion thing. That is the guy on the couch, just like the stoner guy that's just like kind of staggering through scenes, and it's totally Stephen Wright from Half Baked. He's just the guy on the couch. Just he's every now and then he wakes up and staggers to the bathroom.
I was waiting for a Big Lebowski quote to somewhere end up
Yes.
in there, and it didn't happen. And I'm like, you missed a payoff there, dude.
Oh
That could
man.
have been a meme forever.
I went Half Baked. I went Stephen Wright.
I mean, I guess Daniel Craig, like, I'm conflicted. If you turn off your brain and want to enjoy just a fun, silly movie, that's The Glass Onion. Like, but I think maybe Daniel Craig is the good example to kind of frame the two movies. Like Daniel Craig's character of what goofy name did they give him again?
Oh,
Benoit Blanc. That's what
Benoit
it was.
Blanc.
Benoit
Yeah.
Blanc. It's like when he was kind of cartoonish in the first movie. It's a very forced Southern accent, but it's done in a way that's entertaining, and you kind of buy it that this guy's kind of a weirdo, eccentric that solves murders somehow, and he's just thrown into this crazy group of rich people and has to sort it out. When you get into The Glass Onion, like his introduction into it doesn't make any sense. Like how he's there doesn't make any sense. Even when you do find out all the different ways which he ended up being there, which is part of the whodunit.
And why he's allowed to stay.
Yeah. So like yeah, some billionaire letting he's gonna commit a murder supposedly, and he's gonna let him just hang out.
It seems odd, but he I guess he thought that one of the guests had invited him as a joke or whatever, and sure, I'll buy it for the sake of the movie. Why not? He's
Yeah, it's
there.
like but that's kind of the whole problem. You have to keep doing that in order to keep this movie going. Like it's I feel like it's cartoonish on many levels, which can be entertaining. But when you I feel like you got to think about it as a totally different movie and IP than Knives Out in order to make this work, because it's super bright and obnoxiously colored, which is hilarious looking when you're as someone who admires good cinematography, like from a color grade perspective and how the movie looks. Like it's a cartoon. When you hear Benoit Blanc, who turns it up to 11 with the accent in this movie, it seems like it goes next level. It's like, oh, this is a cartoon character. This is what's the chicken from Looney Tunes or the rooster?
Yeah, yeah. Cleghorn, Leghorn.
Yeah, Foghorn Leghorn.
Foghorn, Leghorn,
It's like
Cleghorn.
that's what he turns into 100% in this movie, and the characters are all just stupid. Like there's a meme that came from the movie of what it's so stupid it was smart. It's like, no, it's just stupid. And you kind of get that. There's a lot of the people that were criticizing it online were saying, it's like, no, this entire movie turned into that. Like, what? You enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, but I have reservations. Do you have those reservations on this film?
You kind of go along for the ride. Um, you kind of go along for the ride. You have to kind of suspend belief. I mean, these are all, like I said, they're all eccentric characters who probably don't really exist in real life. I mean, I'm sure some variations of them are out there lurking. But with the first one, you were taken on a ride, and with this one, you kind of had to carry some of the bags yourself.
That's a good metaphor for it, because yeah, you have to go like, oh, he was smart enough to figure out this, this, and this, but why? No, don't think. Just keep going. What was made it work, I think, is the pacing is really good. Like it keeps going. It doesn't sit too long with these kind of silly things where you think about, oh, that's a plot hole. That's a plot hole. It just keeps going into like. You focus on the silliness of the characters, enjoy it as a comedy, but it seems like Rian Johnson doesn't understand how to keep an intellectual property going. Like if you have a universe you're supposed to live in, like this is unfortunately where we have to go back to Star Wars for a second and think, if Rian Johnson has to live in a universe, he does not understand it whatsoever. He needs to start from scratch. Like Looper was that way. Like, oh, okay, it's a time travel movie where where Bruce Willis and younger Bruce Willis you figure out as you go. So there's a little bit of mystery when it comes to it, but he was able to write it all from scratch. Knives Out's very much the same way. There's a murder, rich eccentric weirdos, and you throw the hero in there to figure out what's going on. And in this, like, there isn't that. Like, no, he's writing what would be a dime store novel, but it turned and Netflix bought it.
Or what actually it feels like to me, and I have no evidence of this whatsoever. He had that script on the shelf, and Knives Out went off and exploded, and they were like, you know what, we need another Knives Out. And he's like, well, I've got this. We can put Benoit Blanc in here. We can shoehorn him in, which is kind of how his appearance in the movie kind of feels. And so I'm inclined to think that this may have been a property that was in the can that was altered later.
And I mean, very well to give benefit of the doubt to Rian Johnson. Also, I mean, movie studios, like how much impact did the movie studios have on this? This was, I mean, the literal gag in the first 15 minutes of the movie is, oh, they get a quick little vaccine against COVID, so they don't need to wear masks for the remainder of the film, which it was a little cringe considering when it did come out it wasn't that long ago. Like it really felt like this was ready to go like back in 2020, 2021, and it didn't come out till late 2022, straight to Netflix, filmed on a very limited set, filmed with only a handful of actors and
I won't play the low budget card on this one. I think it's the original Glass Onion it's like a real building, and I think it is.
I wouldn't say necessarily low budget, but a matter of resources that were available to actually make it happen were probably extremely limited when it comes to set, getting the people, the production crew together. No, disagree entirely.
I disagree. I disagree. Netflix is probably
for the record, so everyone knows, you used to work with movie studios. So this is a film critic guy speaking of someone who actually used to work in the industry.
Well, yeah, I haven't looked up how much it cost. It does not have that low budget stink that permeated pretty much all of my work. Yeah, I don't think there were very many constraints. I think it was coming off the heels of the first Knives Out and Star Wars, and so to get it done right, they needed their budget, and Rian Johnson seems to be the kind of fella that could demand that after Star Wars and Knives Out and the whole thing. So I don't think you could compress it into constraints like that. I think they got everything they wanted, and I think that this is the movie that Netflix wanted to make.
Yeah, that's probably key right there, because I found it costs $40 million to make this movie. This is big time money. Probably 75% of that was on the cast.
Yeah, and location. It's the Glass Onion house was just for sale. Like I saw it on Zillow Gone Wild, and it's for just like $18 million. You can own it. It didn't actually blow up in the end.
Really? Are you saying movies aren't real?
Movies are not real.
I'm so confused. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I mean, Ed Norton, Dave Bautista, Catherine Hahn, Kate Hudson. They got some big time actors in there. A bunch of secondary actors that were actually really good. Ethan Hawke randomly. What was Ethan Hawke? What did he do in this? Efficient Man. Was he the stone guy?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Efficient.
No,
Man.
wait. We could look it up because I.
Yeah. No, I think he was early. He was early on and it disappeared. So how fast can you Google? It's so funny. Like and then who's the? Yeah, and then Daniel Craig. I mean, Daniel Craig's worth so much money from those James Bond movies nowadays. It's just bonkers. And then they somehow managed to make that last one go through.
In a white. This is Efficient Man, played by Ethan. Oh, he's the guy that vaccinates him.
Oh yeah, and it's like, oh, this is gonna be a character that's gonna make. No, he's done in literally
No,
30 seconds. He's out of the movie. He's
it's kind
gone.
of a fun role though, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
he just kind of like, nope, just trust me. Like, well, he doesn't say that. He's just like, you need this vaccine. Like,
Is this an analogy for the rest of the movie? Was that Rian Johnson throwing in like this is just trust me, just go with it.
yeah, just take the ride. I think that's exactly what it is. It's you just have to trust and enjoy where it takes you.
So we got about 5 minutes left on this segment here. You reference Death on the Nile as something you recently saw. What do you think of that? I haven't checked that out yet.
Well, that's another one. That's Hercule Poirot,
Yeah.
Kenneth Branagh, in one of his rare non-Shakespearean roles. I really like that one. I really like that. I thought that was it's classically styled. It's beautifully shot. It's an intriguing mystery. Nothing but good things to say about that. I definitely would group that in with the first Knives Out movie as just kind of like, wow, that was mind blowing. I thought that was really good.
And it's based on a book too, right?
Well, yeah, Agatha Christie.
Yeah, so
Hercule
literally it's
Poirot
called.
is the
Yeah.
the male, the not Mrs. Marple, but the other one, Murder on the Orient Express kind of guy.
Yeah, so
So
it's a good IP that there's a legacy behind that people like there's plenty of material to build off of it. Like that's I mean that's I really wish Rian Johnson was good at working with pre-existing material. I just keep going back to that. It's like, dude, you have this amazing bit of IP that you can utilize and make something with. He just crashes and burns. And J.J. Abrams I think is the same way too. Like what he did to Star Wars and then trying to clean up everything. I feel is the same thing. I'm not a huge J.J. Abrams fan to begin with, anyways. And what he did to Star Trek was devastating to my soul.
but okay, counterpoint. We're here talking about it. Did it really crash and burn? I
Oh,
mean,
screw
it
that!
was.
No, it was terrible. No, Chris
It's
Pine as
the
Kurt
at the
was
very
terrible.
least. Oh no, it's Star Trek. No, we're not
Star
even
Trek,
gonna talk
J.J.
about that.
Abrams.
No, no. What? I'm talking about Rian Johnson.
Yeah, I'm saying they both screw up IPs that are well established and have these amazing universes you could do something with, and they both terrorize it.
Again, I get the sense that this was not originally part of the Benoit Blanc
Yeah, it
world.
was just yeah, it was definitely just some other things like oh I'm in the mood to write another whodunit and I'm gonna put this down and then Netflix went oh we're gonna give you like an ungodly amount of money to make another movie and we'll give
I
you
made a
basically
lot of
unlimited
money with
budget.
this character. I'm
Oh
sure
yeah,
we can put him in here
oh
somehow.
yeah. I mean even like it grossed $311 million. It's the third highest grossing original movie of 2022. It did, and it came out in the end of the year. It came out in September. Like it paid off. Netflix did what they did, and it worked. It just sucks. It wasn't better.
It could have been better. I will give you that. But it did have a dude on the couch, which it gives
It
it
did.
high marks in my book.
It did. They so should have had. He should have been drinking White Russians.
Well, like at the end, they should have showed him like drinking, yeah, like having a little white Russian or ripping into those Bud Lights like while the building's exploding, just like whatever, man.
Exactly. It's like it's so close. Like the silly things. Like I'm guarantee there must have been something else in the script that the studio or Netflix or someone cut because it just seems like there was some other payoff. Like there were a couple of other instances like that I heard that they removed a bunch of material and that just seems like cutting room floor material. Unfortunately.
Well, it's just like this small. Well, like you said, like with the vaccine, it's like you have to take the ride. But that's like the reminder of reality. Like there's like just this dude like getting his life together, like just hanging out on the couch.
There's always a freeloader at a mansion.
Yeah, yeah. It's Kato Kalin kicking it.
All right, we're about out of time here. Jess Place, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
It's the New England Take, newenglandtake.com to get more from me. And if you are interested in contributing to the sites or to the YouTube channel or anything like that, please do reach out. The New England Take at gmail.com. I'm actively looking for partners on releasing articles, videos, whatever it is you want to do. Please do reach out. The New England Take at gmail.com. I got some things in the works that I'm hoping to announce very soon, and excited to have whatever they will be announced. All right, I'm your host, AJ Kierstead. It's been the New England Take.